on your ordinary cruise ship. It'll venture through polar ice, powered by recycled cooking oil, both affordable and environmentally friendly.
Hi guys, it's Damien from Brewpig here. It's been a pretty busy few days, 3-4 days or so on the boat. We had a newspaper company get hold of us and ask if they could do a story on us. We didn't think too much of it. We thought it might have just been like a little wee piece, buried page 79 or something like that under a whole stack of advertising. We were completely and utterly wrong. It was a front page newspaper article. This is the front page that they wanted to do. And so they put that out, and then they also had a big 2-page spread on page 6 and 7 as well, so that was pretty neat. And it was a great article actually. It was really well written. Off the back of that article, April Clark from 9 News got hold of us, and she wanted to do a story on us as well. So that's the woman in the red dress here. And so they came down, they did a walk around right around the boat. We showed them all of the different aspects of it and so on. It was really interesting talking to them. The camera guy was incredibly interesting, really keen on doing some Antarctic work himself. He's applied to do Antarctic work and so on for the Australian team down there. So that was pretty neat to get hold and meet those guys. So off the back of that as well, there was also a radio interview from ABC Radio. So that went out nationally in Australia. So there was 55 stations, and 250 frequencies, I think he said. So that was fairly broad and wide ranging. So the interesting thing about the radio article was he did a 15-minute piece with me and Jess, and then he also did a 10-15 minute piece with Bruce and Peggy, the original builders and owners of Brewpig. So it was really interesting to hear those guys talk. Bruce and Peggy are pretty interesting people. That every time I sort of engage with them or hear from them or anything like that, I always learn something new about the boat. So it was really nice to sort of hear their experience of the early days with Brewpig. Talks about going through a couple of cyclones and things like that. So the boat's got a bit of pedigree. So that was fun. Off the back of those 3 articles in Australia, we were also picked up by 3 news outlets in the States. So there was a couple of articles and so on that were run with in the States from Passage Maker and a couple of others. So that was quite cool. We got a lot of exposure, which for us is pretty neat. Believe it or not, we're actually really quite private people, but we really want to share the boat. The boat's always been about sharing and sort of social and that sort of thing. So the boat itself's quite big. It has at least 9 people can comfortably sleep on this boat. Depending on the layout that we go for, that can potentially go up to 12. So it's a boat that is far too big for just Jess, myself, and our little dog Mishka. So it's always been about basically having people on board and sharing it and going to these places with other people and experiencing the other places with people of like mind and so on. The channel for us is an extension of that. So all of our YouTube and Facebook channels are always an extension of basically sharing the boat. So if you can't physically be on the boat or anything like that, you can watch from wherever you are in the world. We'll always be videoing the places that we go. So that's kind of always been in the back of our mind is whenever we're doing things on Brewpig is how can we share this with other people and how can we bring other people into this. It's never been something that we just wanted to build and hide away from the world on. So that's always been an aspect for us, and the news articles and the channels and everything is sort of helping us get that way. One of the neat things about the article in the paper, we were just working away on the boat a day or two later, and this joker turned up and he said, "Oh, I just read your article in the paper. What sort of help do you want?" And I was like, "Oh, great. Okay. What can you do?" And he said, "Well, I'm a retired electrician, so I can give you a hand with that if you like." And I was like, "Yeah, fantastic." So met a really neat guy, and he's going to help us do all of the wiring, all the DC wiring. So we've got 12 volt and 48 volt wiring that we need to do. So he's going to give us a hand to get all of that done. So that's pretty neat. I was going to do it myself, but having someone that knows what they're doing is going to make my job a lot easier. So if you don't know, we run a Facebook channel and a YouTube channel, an Instagram channel, and a Patreon channel. Patreon basically allows us to give, so if you're a Patreon, you get first access to all of our videos, and you also get longer and more detailed videos. So if you're interested in the build and all of that sort of stuff, Patreon basically helps us. So obviously you pay a fee, completely upfront about that. It's not a lot. It can be as little as $1 a month. And that basically helps us get better camera equipment, better microphones, all of that sort of stuff. Helps us get the boat in the water faster. So because you're paying for it, we basically help. We give you first access to all of our stuff. We give you much more detailed information. YouTube for us is similar to what we do on Patreon, but it's delayed. So there is a small delay in the content going out. It goes to Patreon first and then to YouTube, and it's not as detailed as Patreon. Facebook is for us is quite different. So Facebook we use for like real-time updates. So if we're, I don't know, say we're working on something in the bathroom, for example, and we put some tiles down, we think, wow, that looks really cool. We'll snap a photo and we'll put it up on Facebook pretty much within 30 minutes of actually doing the job. So it's almost real time. And Facebook is a great way to interact with us, obviously using Facebook Messenger and so on through the page. So send a message to the page and we can get back to you if you like. So if you're not signed up to all of the channels, like for example, if you're just on YouTube and you have a Facebook account, I'd really strongly recommend liking the Facebook page, because then you can sort of stay up to date with all the real-time content and you can interact with us, in a much easier fashion as well. YouTube comments can be a bit sluggish compared to the Facebook side of things. I understand if you don't have a Facebook profile and you don't want to do it, that's cool, it's all good. And then finally, Instagram is, Ryan has an artistic side, so Instagram is kind of Ryan's outlet for putting all of the cool, interesting photos and all that sort of stuff on. So it's pretty neat seeing that side of him as well on there. So you can kind of see the different flavors of the different crew members coming through the different channels. So yeah, just basically a shout out. The links for all of our channels are in the description below. So you've got the 4 different channels. The links are all down there in the bottom. And finally, yeah, just want to say thanks to our Patreons. You guys help get the boat in the water earlier, and you guys help us make the channel better through audio gear and so on. So thanks very much, guys. Talk to you soon.